Hey there, Jamie.
Hi, Barry. How are you, sir?
Great.
Thank you so much for giving me your time today. I just want to, right off the bat, tell you that you've been my favorite for the past 34 years. I've been singing your music since I was 3. It's essentially part of my DNA, your music. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.
And 15 minutes is the best work you've ever done, I think. It's fantastic. What I want to know from you, first of all, is how this feels for you, because you've nurtured this album for years, and today it's being unveiled to the world. What emotions are going through for you right now?
Well, over these last couple of weeks, as it's gotten closer and closer, this is the first time I've been terrified in a long time. And that's a good thing, because I knew I was taking a big risk here. I just got off the Gayle King show, who said, I was a little nervous about this album, Barry, because I love all the songs that you do with all the violins. And then I heard the first cut, and it had too much energy, but then she got to love the thing, But I have been a little, I've been dreading this moment, and excited about it, because it is not your typical Manilow album. And so, as the day arrived, I was, as any artist, I was holding it back by my fingernails. Can we push the release date back another month, another year? Because it really is a risky thing to do. The whole thing is a risk for me, Jamie. This, it was safer to do the greatest love songs of the 50s and the 60s, and do a nice arrangement of Arthur's theme, and do a nice arrangement of Time After Time, and all. Those were safer, but this is a little more risky. Plus, I'm putting this out on my own label, and plus I'm 95 years old to do this kind of thing. And, so,
well, this is what's great about it. I mean, it is such a departure for you. I mean, you've dabbled in edgier, kind of more rock flavored music in the past with songs like "Flashy Lady" and "Nice Boy Like Me." But what was this a particular challenge to inhabit this style of music for this album?
Yeah, I did it on purpose, because once Nick and I came up with the idea that we were going to tackle an album to write songs about fame, I kind of had to make up a person who wanted fame just to kick this thing off. And I imagine this guy being a young guitar player, because these days I don't think you'd find a piano player trying for it. I just thought he would be a guitar player. And the problem was I don't play guitar. So I had to write, for guitar and be as honest and truthful as I could be, not knowing how to play this instrument. And so it took a long time to make this, to write it, and to be in the studio with guitar players and communicate with them on what I was hearing in my head.
Mm-hmm. And it's a story about fame, your album. And it's about a young musician who strives for fame. He finds it. It tears him apart, and then he has to kind of rise from the ashes to start again.
That's right.
I'm curious, from your own experience, how have you made sense of fame?
Well, how have I made sense of fame? Well, I think more of so, how have I embraced it? Because I was resisting it for a long time. I didn't like it. And it's probably because I didn't start off wanting anything like that. I wanted a career as a musician in the background. I wanted to be an arranger, a composer, a producer if I was lucky, a piano player, a musician. I loved working with other singers, that I could support them like I did with Bet and so many of the other singers that I worked with. I was very happy in the background. But when that hit me, it was terrifying, and it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times for me. I had to really make friends with this thing called fame, because it knocked me right over. And the way I handled it, and if I were to have any advice for young people who this happens to, because really, there's no school to go to when this hits you. There's no book to read. It hits you whether you've whether you played your dues for 10 years or whether you just happen to luck into a performance, it is a huge shock. What I finally learned was that you have to keep your family and your old friends around you, because your old friends and your family will look at you and tell you the truth as you become a little obnoxious or a little crazy, which happens to all of us.
Mm-hmm. That is important, but also another aspect of fame is this phenomenon where how it affects the people around you, how it affects how they relate to you.
Right.
And it's touched a little bit on the album in the Letter from a Fan song. Did you notice that as well in your life, that
yes.
people weren't relating to you the same?
Oh, yes. They are relating to an image. Your image walks into the room way before you do. And it was another thing that was driving me crazy, sometimes still does. My image walks into the room, and this happens to everybody, whether it's the greatest doctor or the greatest politician. Your image walks into the room way before they do, and you don't get treated like a person until hours later, until that all finally disappears. And that is complicated, and that is very, very frustrating for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you listen to the album, it's been on constant repeat for me. I know it backwards and forwards now.
Oh, I love this. Thank you.
When you listen to
really,
it,
it's so important, Jamie. I know that you can't believe this because I've been making so many albums. But this one, to hear you say this, I can't thank you enough. Because you sound so genuine, and really, this is a very important day. And thank you for saying that. Okay, I'll stop saying that. Okay.
No. I mean, I'm so honored to have the opportunity to speak to you and share these feelings with you. So, when you listen to the album, does anything about it surprise you, even going through the process of putting it together?
The anger that I can finally get to surprised me, and I was wondering whether fans like Gayle King, who missed the violins, and so I was wondering whether people will be able to handle my being angry, because there are some songs that this character, and again, I lived through this too. I really lived through just about all these experiences, and a song like "Who Needs You," "Take a Hike," I couldn't sing that sweetly. I had to find the anger in that song. Same thing with some of the other ones on "Winter Go Down," and I had to get to the point where he's by himself. I'm imagining him in a hotel room saying, "What the hell just happened? I slept through the end of the world." But I had to get there, and that would surprise me that I was able to get to that anger in song as a singing actor.
Mm-hmm. It really is like being an actor, because you're obviously these songs are kind of pulled from personal experiences, but you're
well, they weren't in the beginning. They weren't. Nick and I were writing about this fictitious character. We looked around, we saw what was going on in the world, and we were writing about somebody else until, I don't know, about 6-7 months into it, when I started to put them together on my CD player, I realized, whoa, I've lived every single song on this album, except the very last two, where we are way down. We are way down in this person's experience. I think, thank goodness, I never went that far down. I went down, but not like that, where I had to start all over again. I thank goodness I haven't done that. But I did. It's not an autobiographical. It didn't start off to be an autobiographical album, but I have lived through all of these experiences.
Another thing that interests me is when you, speaking of unveiling it to an audience, I'm sure you're singing a song or two for your Paris, Las Vegas audience and during the various concerts that you do across the country. Does it take on a new life when you perform them for an audience for the first time?
Yeah, there's much more passion that I cannot do on a record. If I did that on a record, I think it wouldn't feel good. There are some people who know how to do that. I've never really had good fortune going as far as some other people do. But live, yes. So far, I've been doing Bring On Tomorrow, and I have found the joy and celebration and and the hope and Bring On Tomorrow. And I think the audiences get it, even though they've never heard it before. They get it, and it seems to have been becoming a showstopper.
Just two more quick questions. I know you're pressed for time. But I wanted to ask you about iHeartRadio. They have Radio Manilow. You have your own station where people can listen to some of the music from the new album and some of the music that inspires you.
It's my favorite thing that I've done in years. Have you checked it out yet? Have you gone on?
I've been listening to that nonstop too. Yes.
Oh well, it's my favorite thing. I have no idea because I gave them over 300 cuts. I gave them loads of introductions, and then they put it together, and then I guess their computer shuffles it. And so when I listen to this, and my friends listen to it, and my band, and everyone, none of us know what's coming next. And, it's like, Jerry Mulligan comes up, whoa, followed by Friendly Fire, whoa, followed by something else, it just goes. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. I hope it becomes successful because I would love to do more of it.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And such an eclectic sense of music. I mean, if people really want to get to know you beyond your own albums, I mean, this is a venue to do that.
Well, and also, because of the radio these days, we don't get to hear radio stations that play anything but, since it's splintered into a million pieces, when you put the radio stations on, you get pop radio, period, or you get show tunes, period. And here's a station where they're allowing me to play everything. I think there was a moment in time where there were loads of stations like this, and you just never knew what was coming next. But that's why this is feeling very fresh.
Talking about the future, you've mentioned that you're wanting to work on a sequel to 2 A.M. Paradise Cafe. Does this include more Johnny Mercer lyrics?
Well, I've got 35, and I've written melodies to all of them. And I just was talking to my assistant, Mark, and I said, I think I will put one of the Johnny Mercer lyrics that I put music to on this one because that's what I did with When October Goes. So I think I will.
It's gorgeous. I can't wait for that. And Barry, thank you for playing such a major role in my life. You've really
Jamie, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
You've given me a passion for the arts, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much too.